of the malediction, considering they have a lot of burst damage and a couple squishies that they're playing against. Maybe something that provides a little bit of extra durability. I would have loved the Disruptor pick if it wasn't straight away banned by T1.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised that VG importance on that Disruptor, considering how well it was played. Any thoughts on some final picks for them, especially on the side of T1? Because you're right, apart from that dying, which will become tankier later, right now it is looking quite squishy.
I mean, I kind of want them to pick a carry that matches, you know, the strength of their lineup in a way, like where you just have a hero, you're gonna have this Venomancer or Undying. I don't really know yet who's gonna be the core. I could see some merit also for Veno being core with Vessel, but I guess every time they have this hero, it's just a support. But all these 4 heroes, they want to fight early. So I would want Ana's hero to kind of, you know, join that timing with his team. A hero that can go into this timing, but then also like scale a little bit through the game later. It might not be the easiest pick to start off, because I think this Visage pick from Vici was pretty good. Something that Fear mentioned is that it's going to help you kill the Tombstone, it's going to help you kill the wards. I think also a hero that potentially builds Brave Pact and or Pipe is very good against this T1 draft, and they end up banning PL. I think that hero could have been pretty good for them.
Is there anything else to mind as Ana's hero?
I mean, if they want to direct counter the Morphs, the lane matchups is tough.
5 seconds remaining.
I mean, I was going to say Bristleback is something that is good for Visage, but I don't know if it can carry the game. Yet again, in a position where they have to find a hero that can do well in the laning state, also carry the game here. Man, the Slark's already banned, a lot of his comfort is gone. I wouldn't mind if they Lone Druid, I think, is what I would want to have that ball of potential, add even more to the play, just try to end the game early. Something along that.
Vici Gaming's turn to
Faceless Void.
Faceless Void. Oh, not a huge fan of that, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, so, like in this matchup here, like the Void, you can backtrack a lot of the harassment of it. It does have a long cooldown.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, he's got a nasty laning stage in general. I think there's a lot of threat that comes with this Void Spirit and the Tusk roaming around the map trying to hunt for this Faceless Void. I mean, it's going to be a bit difficult, but you're actually going to be pretty safe when you think about the Chronosphere. Like, you can actually make some really good plays with it. You kind of enable the rest of your team. Catching Morphling once is already enough. You can also blow up this Winter Wyvern. Could be nice.
Do you feel like VG are going to have to go?
He's early game, and some of this laning stuff he's playing into, he's going to have to perform. Like, I think in a very good state for him to have a good game in this game. So it's good for their draft. Not that easy to execute against Vici. And for their +5, I feel like there's one route where you can either pick a +5 that gives you like a semi-save. I don't know if they've played Venge before. I don't know if it's the best pick for them, or if they still want to do some swap around where you put this Void Spirit to 4, which is what I feel like they will not do. But I feel like this +5 tool is a little limited. I'm not seeing a much better option here than this type of Venge where you just end up having a save.
Yeah, like Chrono counter or classic Faceless Void counter being the Venge would be true. Yeah, I just don't know how the lane, like, is Venge just going to suffer in the lane a lot, but I was thinking that could be a possible pick for them. I'm also thinking Wyvern for some reason, or Winter Wyvern, could be something for them. Get a good setup with it.
Yeah, man, I think
they're also going to be...
Choose your hero.
Yeah.
Rubik,
They both
going for a more aggressive
using
route.
all of their reserve time.
Wow.
So not going for the
Void
save,
Data.
going for more of the aggression. You can see all of the spells you steal from Shaman are really changing when you're playing Rubik. It's tons of lockdown. Little Chrono in some fights. There's a lot of good spells here. Definitely steal. So not going the defensive route, going more for the offensive route, so...
I
guess
mean,
they're gonna copy T1's playstyle from game number 1.
as exactly what I was going to say, game 1, T1 brought that aggression. Game 2, you know, it was a little bit longer, very tumultuous, very back and forth. But game 3, Vici decide they're the ones that are going to be trying to run over T1. And Kezu, do you think that's able to happen with this? Where are the tempos laying for the two lineups?
I think, again, the mid lane is very important for both teams. Thompson on Puck, I feel like he might be the game changer in this game, because if this Visage gets off to a good start, then I'm quite afraid for T1's chances in this game.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Fia? Who are you rooting for? Which draft looks better?
Well, I'm not rooting for anyone, I'm just rooting for good Dota here, but I think this Morphling Faceless Void matchup, I have not seen Faceless Void come out on top yet, so I'm not going to bet on it, so I'm going to go for Vici.
Alright, very quickly, T-Panda, you don't get to explain yourself a team. That's it.
GG.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Perfect. Let's jump into game at number 3. This is going to decide to go at this last chance qualifier. It's game 3 with Danog and Aaron.
We saw from True Sight what happens when you pick a Rubik in a elimination game. PSG LGD mentioned it with Shinkyu's Rubik in the grand finals of TI-10. But, I mean, who else would you want to play a hero like this? Frisk, previously known as Fade, has probably one of the best position 4 Rubiks out there in Denog. I could not imagine a better Rubik game. Look at all the abilities that he can possibly steal for them. Vici Gaming T1 at game 3. Like Fee said, Denog, I just want good Dota.
I want great Dota. Good's not enough, because we've already got great Dota so far with that game number 2, and I feel like this game might match those expectations. I mean, like you've been saying, the MVP from the last game in Frisk, he's going to look to do it again, put the team on his back. I was really wanting T1 to go for a span. I think it would have been an amazing last pick for them. Just provides so much in terms of protecting the team, the burst, but the Faceless Void, it provides a little bit of that too. You've got some damage to go inside of the Chronosphere, and of course, it is very important to have some of the lockdown to be able to deal with the Faceless, with the Void Spirit, with the Morphling, and more importantly the Visage, the main hero that's going to be setting the tempo for the early game. So as they're positioned right now, it looks like Ana's going to be paired together with Whitemon on his Shadow Shaman, but I was really wanting that Veno to go into the Visage lane, just because of what you're able to do. You don't really care too much about the Gravekeeper's Cloak if you've got that consistent damage over time going with the Venomous Gale. So we'll see how it ends up working out with the Shadow Shaman. Of course, you do get some of that damage over time with the Shackles, but certainly not as strong as the Venom.
We'll see how this mid lane matchup's able to shape up. It is a very, very back and forth kind of affair between these two. Like Fia said, I mean, a lot of people like picking the Void Spirit into the Puck, even though it hasn't had the greatest amount of success. But it does, there is a stage when you can deal with Puck once you get that UF Scepter, but you are also very vulnerable to a lot of the control. So we'll see what XM can do. I mean, this is arguably one of his more comfort heroes, you know, previously in the days of him playing on CDAC. He knows his matchup through and through, and I mean,
Thompson,
we already see he's almost solo killing Thompson.
He's going to go for that
He's
bounty
got
route.
another Resonant Pulse. Thompson has the Fairy Fire required. XM's just going to body him out of the lane, though.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, that bounty rune wasn't even picked up to the start of the game as well. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he's going to change about the way that he goes through with this Void Spirit item build as well, right? Because a lot of the time, the reason that you pick this up against the Puck is you've got the Yule Scepter with the Aether Remnant for the guaranteed setup that the rest of your team's able to connect in with, you know, a lot of their damage. But I wonder if this game, if he might just consider going like an Aghanim Scepter rush, because when you consider what you're going up against on T1, barely anyone, like, you're not going to buy a BKB on anyone except the Faceless Void this game, and he might even just choose to go like a Manta instead as well. And if you're just silencing everyone on the team, there is 0 damage coming through from T1. It's not like you've got, I don't know, an Enchantress or even a Tusk that's able to turn around and do a little bit of burst. Marcy, similar sorts of things. Whitemon bot side, in a little bit of trouble. Able to get away though. I mean, I saw the Shadow Shaman, and it's a good Shadow Shaman game for sure. Like they were saying, they can just look to set up the Mass Serpent wards, you can set up the Plague wards, you can put down the Tombstone.
It might be the... So trying to secure the hard set. There was a gay around and Kuku was moving over, but I was
Still a little worried.
maybe we'll get the kill in the end. Yeah, not like that.
Not like that. I mean, it's a big get for a Venomancer. You know, you're one of these cores that, one of these supports that doesn't really do a great job of rotating. You're all about just setting yourself up in a lane, and if you can get yourself off to a fantastic start, it means that you're so much more capable of doing that. You can see he's already got the confidence with that extra experience to just continue bodying Erica out of the lane.
We did see previously though in game 2 that even though Erica had a really rough lane matchup into the Nature's Prophet, often has the capability to always catch up in lane XM. Again, bringing Thompson down incredibly low.
Is he going to go for it? I mean, it's Thompson. I was wondering if he might just jaunt there, but still a little bit too early for the puck. Might look to go and secure the bounty rune for himself again with having the lane pushed out. So nice little bonus coming through there for Thompson, being able to double up some of his mobility on the map as well as not losing too much in terms of fast.
A very similar game where we saw in game 2, both these mid laners have a lot of priority, a lot of importance I should say, on picking up the power runes. Of course, we're not there just yet. Bottom lane, Ana in some trouble. DAB wasn't able to get that second round of the Soul Assumption off. Ana quick on the fingers with the Time Walk. It'll be another game where we need to see the supports rotating to try and secure some of the runes here for XM along with Thompson.
It's rough though, like neither of them really want to be able to do it, and a Venomancer rotating that has nowhere near the same level of impact as, you know, some of these stunning ones, the ones that can look to go for kills. I suppose Void Spirit's one of those heroes that as long as you've got like a point in the dissimilate, you're generally able to just get away from a lot of these ganks, but for now, XM, he's just focused on winning the laning matchup and potentially getting that solo kill onto Thompson.
This block from Yang, not going to end up ticking up the 2 points into the Gale.
This time he's good.
This time it was a nice shot. I think one thing I've always been impressed from in regards to the China region is their capability. They always like to rotate whenever their mid laner has level 6, and I think this is something you just mentioned. Like, you can't particularly on the Venomancer, while Vici can. So if your lanes are in a position where the equilibrium's okay, you can definitely consider about rotating Frisk and Yang behind the tower, because with that ultimate from XM, you could definitely blow up Thompson or at least force out a defensive coil.
Yeah, I mean, you sure can on Whitemon, but the thing is, Ana's nearly died a couple of times in this bottom lane with Whitemon there.
Erica's in some trouble. They're going to lay the Tombstone down. They can continue the dive. They've got the creeps, and Zephyr's even going to sell it as well. Frisk, I believe his TP got cancelled, so they won't have the Rubik to try and kill Zephyr. Now Yang, he's overstepped the mark a little bit. Was expecting the Rubik to get involved, but instead, it looks like he still ends up dropping. So we got some kills across the board. BAB kills off Whitemon, and Yang does still bring down Zephyr as well.
I mean, that's kind of what you have to commit, right? You put himself a little bit further forward to be able to cancel that TP and ends up paying with his life on Whitemon. That definitely probably shouldn't have come from Zephyr. He just ended up taking, I think, 3 different tower hits with not being able to swap the aggro. Will get double bottle refill if he wants it, though.
Sounds good. He's going to get his own refill as well. So the kills on the side lanes will enable the supports now to rotate. Look at the importance in XM. There's the level 6 advantage. Doesn't have too much mana, so Frisk's going to give him a main go, but Thompson gets his own 6. Resident Pulse going to buy him some time. We'll see if they got the magic damage to go through the Void Spirit. Shaman's going to hold him into place, but the telekinesis will cancel that. Instead, XM, he just jumps in. Why not go for the kills instead of going for the power rune? As XM, with the help of the support rotation from Vici Gaming, will find a double kill on the river.
We'll even be able to snatch away the bounty rune as well. That's the advantage of having this Void Spirit there, right, with the 3 points of the Resonant Pulse. Big rotations just means more of that absorption coming your way.
It means that BAB's having a free time down bottom, and I really think, like Kesu said, this is a game-winning pick. I think there are some issues with your lane matchup into the Faceless Void, like Ana will have a pretty good time, but you address the Shaman incredibly well, who also addresses the Void and the Morphling, which is going to free their game up a little bit. They don't particularly deal with the push at all, so I think BAB is going to be a big reason of why Vici Gaming can potentially take this game.
Now, I have to say, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that Cuckoo's been copping a lot of shit throughout his performances so far, but have a look at the net worth of this game. He is doubling Erica's net worth on this top side, having a fantastic time and confidently just trying to deny away this entire creep wave. Yang might be forced to try and secure a few of these last hits for himself, but I mean, if you go too far forward, you're going to get denied and potentially still end up dying. I don't know if you can go for this kill. Cuckoo's just way too farmed right now.
Thompson mid lane. Cautious frisk. Oh, he gets a telekinesis. So again, Thompson forced to use a defensive coil. Is going to be able to sidestep the remnant. Another round of the astral step from XM. He's actually going to jump onto the puck's location instead of waiting for the jaunt. Tricky play to make. Always has that advantage being able to go either way.
It's so close though. They're playing on the edge. Thompson, I wonder if he's asking for a few more rotations because of how much they're emphasizing on Vici this mid lane. Doesn't look like anyone other than Whitemon is in a position to be able to help him out, and also pinging out the fact that you've got a Rubik to the right-hand side. It's like they're going to secure that DD rune for XM. You can't afford to go for it, unfortunately.
So this power rune now on XM enables him to rotate top, especially with the double damage rune. I don't know prior if they would have been able to kill Cuckoo's Undying, but now I think he can. Now I think he can definitely rotate. And well, he's going to go for Zephyr instead. As Yang having a 1v1 at the moment.
They see him.
And at least hold Zephyr into place as long as possible, so the rest of Vici can start to show up. Not be able to TP out, of course, with the adaptive strike, and Eric is actually not going to continue the chase. I mean, well, bottom lane. Thompson, well, he's going to make his own rotation. They're onto BAB. This is a big pick-off if they can find it. Slowing down the Visage's game is incredibly important. And they'll do just that, not even requiring the Chronosphere and also getting the Familiars.
Some free gold as well, yeah. Coming from the Familiars. Will they be able to finish it off?
Nice.
That's coming through from T1, and that is all of their early game tempo, right? Point Spirit, great at being able to gank and great at surviving in these big team fights and providing a lot of disruption. Still not 100% sure exactly about how XM wants to go about building. Doesn't have anything queued up just yet. Still feel like that Aghanim Scepter could be worthwhile. Good.
So again, that was a really big advantage that Vici were playing with, and the fact that Thompson rotates and gets a kill. And now he's second in net worth, and you see the Void Spirit. Like, this is someone who really does have some difficult times at being able to keep up in net worth if your rotations do not pay off.
Yeah, it's the power of vision, right? They just de-warded what they had previously, but that Observer Ward paid dividends. It allowed Zephyr to make the rotation away. You caused 2 cores to follow you, and then you just TP out. You get the kill in exchange onto the Visage. You get the Familiars. You prevent your tower from being under threat. Big wins coming through here from T1, and Zephyr, he's even able to make the rotation to potentially help out with these 10-minute power runes.
They have the numbers advantage at the moment here from T1. Great use of the Hex. Might target down Whitemon instead, and oh yeah, they definitely will as soon as Thompson jaunts away.
Instantly
was able to at least
for the invis though. Or if they're going to look to make a play onto this Morphling who's farming up inside of his own jungle. They've got an Observer, but they don't have the Sentry available.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, smoke that, he should know.
They just caught him. Oh, that's so close, man.
So Thompson's still nearby.
He's going to back off completely. But, I mean, again, look at Cuckoo. He's completely taken over this top side of the map. You've got the creep wave with the siege creep pushing into the tower. He doesn't even need to right-click, and he's just going to extend that net worth lead even further.
Cuckoo's getting completely out of hand, and counterpart here. Yeah, B also looking to try and take the bottom tower as well. They've got the catapult timing and the familiar, so it does look like either side are going to be able to find their first T1 tower of the game.
Ooh, I don't know. Armor's going to TP up. I was wondering if they might look to commit, considering you'd already dropped the Mass Serpent wards. You're probably going to be able to secure that one really quickly. Instead, T1 looks like they're keen to set up inside of the Vici Gaming jungle. Enable much more space to Arna to farm.
Radiant's
They built up quite a net worth lead here. Targeting claim will drop it down to only 1,000. See what T1 can look to do. Are they going to consider about maybe trying to pressure this T1 tower mid, or are you really waiting for that next Serpent Wards to think about the next objective?
I think you do need the Serpent Wards still. I mean, the thing is, I feel like you want to enable Ana to be able to take these towers outside of the Mass Serpent Wards, but you're just not there yet, right? It's way too early into the game. So maybe once he gets a little bit more value out of the Midas, once he gets into the Maelstrom and you can push out waves a bit easier, even the Mask of Madness potentially, that's the timing that you can look to go for that sort of play. But for now, you just got to wait for the Shadow Shaman, unfortunately. They're turning around. Thompson's coming with the haste, with the Dream Coil. Whitemon backing him up here.
Goes to the TG Tower. It's going to break the coil instantly. Is he far away to the right side where Whitemon won't be able to enter? And it looks like that's the case.
Nice movement. Defensive understanding, only using one TP as well onto the Rubik, not actually committing the one on Yang there. He was just roaming around, realizing that his role this game as the position 5 is to scout out a lot of these ganks, and well, they're going to see where Ana is as well. No stranger to being set up on this top side, especially considering the tower's gone. They're going for this, yeah.
He's going to be in trouble here, Thompson. Beautifully done. XM, this is the answer. Early game can prove to be a bit of an issue here for the Park to get to the later stages, but you might have at least one defensive item. This is even without at your scepter.
Just see how much more of a challenge Cuckoo has of dealing with these multiple units, right? The Familiars, the Visage, don't really care all that much about the Decay, even with it maxed out. His very heavy net worth lead over the next core has just evaporated because he's not able to just set up in a lane against a hero. He just has to deal with multiple now and lots of these different little units. If they can catch Yang, this would be big. They really want to open up that mid tower. If they can do it without dropping the Serpent Wards, that'd be even better. Might be forced to. Still looks like they're going for the pick-off though.
I don't know. I can defend this tower. If Serpent Wards and Tombstone are laid down, I think they will very much struggle.
They're going to wait until they get that next creep wave, but that just gives the time for Vici Gaming to be able to come back here. Just trying to start setting up a few of these Plague Wards as well. But the AB realizes how important it is to not let the Venomancer establish that territory. And happening consistently. A lot of people are memeing on the T1 Venomancer, but it's got a 60% plus win rate for them so far.
T1 unable to crack mid. Vici, they're going to mirror this. Look at this. Either side really on point with their initial move. Expecting where the carries are playing.
This is where the communication needs to come out. Ana, time will call.
Uh-oh, Ana's in trouble.
They have Morphling too, though.
He gets the initial stun. They're going to be able to follow up plenty of lockdown to bring him down. But meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, T1, they will also be able to convert on their smoke.
You would have to say that it's a little bit more important for...
Yeah, their mid lane as well. Close out. No hesitation with the use of the Poison Nova. TPs are starting to come through. They will end up losing the life to BAB. And they catch up to Yeho. It's actually going to snowball into the middle. Has some Familiars to play with.
Stun.
For the rest of the team, they're not here. Yeah, he's going to try and chuck up Zephyr into the air, but the damage is not enough for just a toss. So a great play from T1. The sequence of events from them, killing the Morphling, and then taking a team fight under the tower where you can get usage out of the Serpent Wards for the kills and also the objective.
I mean, the fact that they didn't need to commit the Dream Coil to kill the Morphling is the bigger deal, right? It means that they can use it onto that valuable tower. They can open up the map. Ana could start to get more value out of the Midas, farming a bit more greedily. It's very clear that they're just going for this 20-ish minute timing where they can look to push forward, probably level 2 Mass Serpent Wards at that sort of time. They're just going lane to lane, tier 1 tower at a time, play with the siege creep, see what you're able to do to open up the map and make life a lot more difficult for this Morphling.
We see is just continuing to stalk. Thompson and Whitemon's always going to be a difficult game for Erica. They probably will be forced into a Lincoln's as his maybe second item. Make an attempt onto Thompson. They know the orb was used prior. Might be an opportunity for them to secure the kill. Again, a defensive use of the coil. Whitemon step in. They get the control for the attribute shift. Thompson's going to jump back in for the faithful. Oh no! High risk, high reward play, but it'll be Vici Gaming that comes out on top. And are back to the river. They're also making another move. They're on to Cuckoo. The shot's just shy, but it gave them vision to follow up with the snowball. And Vici, they're on the prowl. They want to get another kill, and they'll easily catch up to Zephyr as the 8th remnant drags him back into Vici's kill.
High risk, high reward is the perfect way to put that one. Imagine if they were able to turn that one off, even when he was mid-illusory orb, he had a healing salve going while he was in the int treads, so just trying to find maximum efficiency out of that from Thompson, but it wasn't enough. Frisk again, just with that pesky Fade Bolt, maxed out, wanting to get it and slam it straight into Thompson.
And they're looking to play though down bottom. Thompson really wants to try and shut down Erica as best as they can. Look for a TP, they know exactly where the Morph is, but don't have the ways to counter him. Morph will make it out, and Frisk will not be so fortunate under the T1 tower. Mid lane though, yeah, he gets a kill to death. For Ana wants to step in as well with the threat of the Chronosphere. They got some damage over time thanks to the Gale, so Ana will have no issue with going through the Gale, keep his cloak.
Nicely done by him. That Midas,
Not the
again,
worst though.
good value being obtained out of Ana though. I mean, you just have to look at the net worth disparity between him and the Morphling, and tell the T1 are going to be fairly happy with this. I'm kind of surprised with exactly how farmed XM is getting here. This is a Void Spirit that, like you mentioned, can fall off pretty damn quickly. But he's at the top of the net worth charts right now, 3-0 and 4. More than halfway towards that Aghanim Scepter that I mentioned was going to be enormous for the upcoming team fights, because there are no BKB buyers coming up very shortly for T1.
It's interesting. It seems like XM is kind of been playing his own game at the moment, like putting a lot more importance on his own itemization instead of looking to get kills. Makes you feel like they just wanting to try and farm instead of slowing down T1, because we see the opposite. Like Thompson is really trying to catch out Erica wherever he's positioning. As Vici with his deep ward place, they know exactly where Arn is farming, or he's going to time walk into them as well. And with 3 heroes nearby, there'll be no escaping on the Faceless Void. A great movement from Vici that was all set up. His ward placement.
They're trying to get something in exchange though, BAB. Make sure
Raid Pact not going to be an easy kill. Close to the T2 tower as well. They need to address the Raid Pact. It's relatively survivable. Yang doesn't have mana for the Snowball, however, so they're even forced to drop the Serpent Wards. Get the kill and the Familiars.
Okay. It's an important kill. Again, they've only lost 2 tier 1 towers, I suppose, and XM doing another good job of pushing in that top wave. I mean, that's the thing with Ana's death, right? There's a reason that he's able to farm so much faster than a lot of people. It's because he pushes the
Cuckoo. See if they're going to be able to bring him down. This is a beefy man. A lot of damage coming out. Cuckoo doesn't have the greatest amount of armor, so with Erica, all the IG needed to pump in the right-click damage, and now Zeptyr's also caught out. The sharp placement from Yang blocking the escape avenue. Vici Gaming get back again. It feels like we've got a back and forth here. T1 get a couple of kills, and Vici get a couple of kills, and back and forth it goes the pendulum swings.
Absolutely. I mean, Whitemon, he's been saving up his gold as well. He's obviously got the ankle lens queued up, but could very easily just go into that Blink Dagger with the Morphling still quite a ways away from being able to pick up that BKB, so you can even afford to get the use of the shackles off super reliably in a lot of these team fights.
Observer of the triangle is scouting out. They're going to see them in the lane now as well. So Vici get confirmation that Whitemon, along with Thompson, are potentially baiting Ana. They've got the Chrono, so T1 are ready. We've seen time and time again that Vici want to try and slow down Ana, but he's enabling them not to run blindly into the Radiant members.
Power of information. They're going to go in.
He's got the antidote. Might catch him off guard. He can get rid of the silence. Instead, Frisk jumps into the middle with XM with the Aghanim Scepter. AoE silence. They're all grouped up. And they're all going to pay the price as Vici Gaming find the puck. But hang on. Ana live. He got the Chrono on to 3 with half of the poison. Nova, Vici Gaming are in shambles. As now Erica, trying to survive to the northern side, has the waveform to get some distance as well. Vici Gaming, they've still got some members nearby. They're going to hold back Cuckoo on the Undying. Can they bring him down though? With B&B showing up the Familiars, the damage is starting to rack up as Cuckoo, completely isolated, and Vici will end up winning out in the skirmish.
Ooh, what a turnaround from Ana to be able to get that 4-man Chrono off, preventing the Rubik from getting a lot of those steals off in the middle of the team fight, but Frisk still able to come through, get the lockdown needed onto that Undying, and even the Venom Man, so that Poison Nova really starting to come into the equation. The beefy heroes, the damage over time, fantastic against the Morphling. It means that you can't really strength attribute. You're just going to start ticking yourself with more and more damage with the percent. have got that strength more off, otherwise potentially they could have looked to fully commit in here. What a reveal of that Aghanim Scepter though, coming through from XM.
Might have to go back live. And moved over to Arna. Let's see if they're going to have to damage XM in and out. The actual step, not able to bring down Arna. As Whitemon's going to try and catch up. Thompson has got the coil. The rest of the team need to get nearby to protect XM. And all the coil from Frisk. It'll help them kill the Shaman and also cover the retreat. Beautifully done from Vici. The reactions to instantly move over. No hesitation to try and help the ganking duo Vici.
Frisk is just doing so much. The instant steals in a lot of these team fights, just completely turning things around, saving the cause and making sure that they're able to keep that momentum, keep that map control up for themselves.
This is high level of Dota. You wouldn't expect it any other way, but T1, they're able to scout that out with the ward placement done in front of the T1 tower. I feel like I've brought up a lot of wards this game, but this is expected when these two high caliber teams understand all the movements and what. Let's see if T1 are able to read this, because Vici Gaming, they're inside the pit. It looks like they won't come to contest it.
They can't, no Dream Coil. Don't really feel confident in just putting Venomancer out there with his body. The Plague Ward. Tell that he's tempted, might look to try and set it up on their own side of the river, up on the cliff, but in terms of protecting Roshan, just not going to be able to.
And it looks like it's another back-to-back game where Erica has been able to recover. Didn't have the greatest land at all, falling behind net worth, but he's only 2,000, getting under 2,000 gold behind Arna.
Looking at some of these next key items that you've got going for them. Shadow Shaman, he's got the Aether Lens available, so he wants to stay on the outer portions of these team fights, preventing the Tusks from necessarily getting that save off. Gearing up against a Rubik with an Aether Lens of his own and nearly into the Blink Dagger with how many effective team fights Frisk has had, so you're always going to be able to get that counter play through.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Scouts out Erica TPing down, they're going to scout out Frisk TPing down. Vici Gaming looking to try and get usage out of the coil, but T1 will avoid this area, so now they can go look to play top. It's already going to be shoved out. Thompson's addressing with this lane as well. Seems that from the river. Yeah, B's going to need Yang to start. Of course, the Tuskers the blink, but a little bit too far away, so it's going to be up to XM.
Good.
Hesitant is the Void Spirit. Just doesn't have another defensive item, so if he ever uses a Your Scepter, always has to be cautious of the position from the puck. The 4,000 net worth lead on Vici still feels like their lineup. Do you think Vici might have issues as the game goes on in regards to their team fighting?
Radiant's bottom tower.
Oh, I don't know. A Tusk late game, a Rubik late game, a Frisk Rubik late game, I think is never going to be too much of a worry. The thing I really like about what Vici Gaming did there, they made that rotation. It was scouted out, but they still start to push in this tower, and it feels like wherever T1 has looked most effective is when they can do exactly what they're doing right now. Set up all of their spells around an objective. The past few ones that have happened have been around cliffs, around high grounds, around choke points, and that's really not what you want against this ex-Void Spirit in particular, right? He just jumps in, gets so many of those heroes caught inside of the silence from the Resonant Pulse, but instead you just got to let your units do the work instead of your actual heroes, and T1, they're going to be able to claim that tier 2 top. The lanes were pushed out relatively effectively by Vici Gaming, but it's still not enough.
There's some big items starting to be worked on. Got the Scepter now, which pretty much is... I mean, this is going to be big issues for Arna to deal with. He actually has to go for a Linken's, and it looks like he does have it queued up. Any agility core is really going to struggle into the Scepter, so I like the lead from Arna. We also see DAB's going to a Hex as well, so we can catch out the puck. That's going to force him to itemize defensively. Potentially if Arna's Linken's popped as well, then he could be caught out. So there's going to be some big items to turn the tide.
They're keeping the pressure up though. They're saying, look, we've got plenty of ways to defend the high ground. It's much more of an issue for you with our net worth lead, with the Aegis. We're the ones that can be affording to play on the front foot. We've got 2 towers pushed in, and with that Aghanim Scepter as well on the Morphling, he just wants to force T1 to come back to them. No Mass Serpent Wards. Can't really set the Tombstone up in an aggressive position. Needs to be dropped mid-team fight, and by that time it might be too late.
Radiant's courier has been
This. Just let the illusions do the majority of the work. Let the familiars do it, and they're eventually going to TP back, but Tower's already gone.
Yang showed mid. What they want to do with this here on T1. Asking a lot of the defensive factor with the Blink Snowball.
Instant steal.
Oh, nice steal from Frisk, and the familiars as well to cover the retreat.
equipment being used. They're just going to wait out that tombstone, perhaps see if someone goes a little bit too deep into the lane. Use the Morphling with that Aegis as bait. The T1 know how much stronger they are when they're able to fight around where they can get set up, and so just are going to feel a little reluctant to go outside of the base. Got the Blink Dagger on the Rubik. That might be the big reveal that catches them off guard if someone goes too far forward. Even a couple of steps outside of the base, and the protection of all those Plague Wards could mean the death of them.
Is this an opening, you think, for Vici, with all the abilities used from Cuckoo?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you could just set up your own tombstone, then suddenly you're not worried about going into like a meat grinder sort of situation. But seems like they're just going to respect it. Again, elimination game. Loser of this goes home. Winner moves on to the top 4 of the regional qualifiers. And you've got to remember, only 2 are going to get through to the real TI group stage, just a few days away.
So they push on. Vici Gaming looking to try and maximize as much as they can with the Aegis. It's about to expire though. The second life, not available for them. Great way to be able to counter the Faceless Void Chrono, so we might see T1 look to try and smoke. But again, like you said, they need an area to be able to take a fight. They need a choke point.
They do, and they need their tombstone.
DD. We're going to jump instantly onto Zephyr. Shouldn't have to force too many abilities out to secure the kill. Now, this could be the opening for the high ground.
Yep, no one's set up.
He's got the vision of the park. XM's going to be able to follow up as well. Thompson. Oh no, the vision from the tombstone, he wasn't ready. All they needed was one stun, and XM was nearby to have the extra silence.
This is the sort of play that you need to be making. Ana just trying to get anything out that he can on the map. They're pinging him out now saying, well, you got to be careful. They might look to rotate back, but there's really no reason to. Puck is a big part of their team fight, preventing Vici Gaming from being able to run away when they do get all of those abilities set up. So while he's in the grave and while he's showing that he doesn't have that buyback, you've got to keep on moving.
Top barracks are under attack.
10 seconds left. Try and get rid of the Wraith Pact, and well, they'll only lose the one lane, but doesn't put T1 in a great situation.
Oh, it doesn't. Not at all. 8,000 deficit. 20% probability for Radiant at this stage in the game. Who do they need to bring down in these fights? You mentioned about like kind of choke point skirmishes, but who is that ideal target that has to go?
I think it's got to be Void Spirit. I think he needs to be the one. Like, he just provides so much control, so much panic. It really prevents the Venomancer from moving on forward. Zephyr, by the way, he's picked up that latent toxicity on the Venomancer, so for him to get into the middle of the team fight's big.
He's going to jump. They see BAB and Vici going to smoke on the back. Tombstone already played down from Cuckoo. We're going to try blow up Ana. Oh no! The burst is too much. Ana can't survive. He gets no abilities off. Maybe Cuckoo and Thompson, can they do a miracle? Can they turn the fight around? Cuckoo's trying to move in, but Vici Gaming, they've got other answers. They're too far ahead. Thompson will try and slip away to the north. They've locked onto their target. There'll be no escape for the Parkers. Vici, all they lose is BAB.
Such a heavy commitment, and yeah, you mentioned it perfectly. No Chronosphere, no BKB. It was just the perfect chain control coming through with some of those Blink Dagger reveals, and particularly from the supports, just able to instantly wipe him off.
Oh my lord.
At least he can set up a few of those wards, right? Defend against some of the high ground push that's eventually going to be coming. Vici Gaming are going to test this one out. Normally you would love to have the Visage there. We'll see stories about corruption, but it won't do you much good in the grave.
And this is really starting to get to some scary territories here for T1.
Here we go. We have a look at it all. Just the scouting out. They have decent vision. They drop the tombstone. They have everything set up perfectly, but they just find the pickoff. It's all about the supports on Vici Gaming. They enabled that team fight incredibly heavily.
Yeah. They didn't D-ward instantly. That was the big thing. Dyer's ward was still on the high ground. It took them just like 1-2 seconds to get rid of it, but that's all they needed from Vici to see Ana starting to path his way into the team fight.
Vision, 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 and Yang and Smiling, name a more iconic duo. He is feeling himself, especially if he's able to make plays like that. We're used to the Frisk Tusk, and well, it shows that they don't necessarily need to have it locked. They're going for another one. It feels like going for broke here.
Yeah, look how close Ana is to 20 though. This is a big talent for the Void. They won't have it now for this team fight.
Oh, Cuckoo was about to drop the
Smoke's gonna pop as well. Goes out. Not the easiest person to bring down with the Wraith Pack laid down. And look at Ana, he's worried. An instant use to the BKB. They should be able to deal with the Visage without committing too heavily. But Thompson, he's killed it off on the other side. And T1, they've got to get out. They need to cut their losses, but Ana won't be able to make it. Yang's there, he's always there, ready for the punch to stop the teleport. And meanwhile, Lymon, he's also caught out. Trying to hold Erica inside the Serpent Wars. Cuckoo will just escape. Vici Gaming, another fight, the exact same position as the last skirmish, and once again they'll come out on top.
And it's right before the Roshan respawn as well. They just will themselves to win these super crucial team fights around the key objective. That's the quality that makes LGD the team that they are. They manufacture these situations that put them into a winning position, and they hit all the conditions that require them. They had their vision up, it wasn't dewarded, instantly go for the punish, hit the timings with the Blink Dagger on the support. Use them immediately for that quick lockdown. And you just saw that time around, Ana, super early pop of the BKB as well. He didn't want that similar situation to be happening.
Yeah, there's some PTSD from Ana, just making sure they weren't able to blow him up, because we saw prior, whenever he was inside the middle of the fight, XM and Yang, they just went straight to him. Didn't matter about anyone else. Tunnel vision onto the Void, and well, now this is Roche given over. T1, they're alive, but they're way too far away, it looks like. Oh no, and second like that is one of the biggest ways to counter a Faceless Void.
Even just the shard over the Morphling as well, it's going to do so much. You need silences most of the time to be able to take out that Morphling, and really, it's only on tops, and they're going for it again. XM? They have to try.
XM's? We're trying on T1. Pulling that Cree Wave mid, smoked up, but XM with the Aeon Disc ready to be activated. Not going to be an easy pick off for them, so the smoke will not pay off. Maybe they can get some wards down to set up for a further fight, and they're going to do just that at the bottom outpost.
Mentioned that level 20 on Ana. Well, he's been able to claim it now. He's got that extra attack speed during the Chronosphere, but it does really feel like a much bigger nerf than just that 25 attack speed that it got with the nerf. The Mjolnir, it's kind of there to be able to make up for it. They need lots of those little bits of damage over time to be able to take care of the familiars, the Gravekeeper's Cloak, and it does feel like they're a little lacking in damage on T1 side, doesn't it? The pickoffs don't seem to be connecting.
They don't at all. So you're at the stage where it's just split push. We saw in game 2 what they were able to do. Completely avoid the ages. I think it was game 2. Yes, it was game 2. Went the distance. It has to be the same thing, but they don't have the greatest lineup. It's pretty much just Thompson that can do what he's doing. Understanding the role that he needs to play in this game, but top lane shoved out, and that's all they need from Vici Gaming to go high ground.
Let's see how good they are at checking inventories, because BAB just picked up a sheepstick. He is one of the main targets to be able to jump on at the start of these engagements, but if they don't notice that, if they don't use the BKB, not only can the supports get you, but he can just instantly look to hex and burst you down.
Radiant's top tower is falling.
Ana's trying to get close towards the Lincolns. Trying to find that little bit of farm. Not going to show in the lane, and instantly one person in the second will TP down. And make sure there is no room for Ana to be able to get towards that next side, and that could pay dividends, potentially allowing him to get that big ability off in the team fight.
But this is well from Frisk. He realizes how important Puck is at creating a lot of that havoc to allow Zephyr on his Venomancer to come in, land the Poison Nova, get the latent toxicity off, not go on the greedy route. They're so far ahead that an Aghanim Scepter isn't going to change anything on Vici. They just want setup to be able to pick off Thompson. And until he gets into something like the Aeon Disc, he's going for the Octarine Core instead. He is going to be super vulnerable to getting that pick off from the Yules into the Aether Remnant.
A slow B lead. Elimination game, elimination series, and Vici Gaming don't feel comfortable to go high ground. They'll use this ages to continue to grow the net worth lead. 14,000, and it is climbing.
You just saw the pings out on the map as well. That was from XM just saying, hey, he's got a Lincoln Sphere on Ana. They know it. He revealed on the lane. They know the situation that they have to play with now.
How do you defend this? Tombstone's going to be forced down. Cuckoo, did it get stolen? Oh no, they stole Tombstone.
Just push on forward. This is one of the better ways to be able to siege high ground. They can't contest it. Go with double tomb. Oh boy. Double tomb. Aegis still there for 1.5 minutes. Might be trying to kill on Tuana, but he's going to take me all the way back. Oh, what is he doing? Smart defense coming through from T1. It feels like Option as well.
Almost getting caught on. He's going to jump in the middle as well.
You can't try to it. You can't.
It's going to be okay. First two moves done into the second of the resummon as well. Cuckoo trying to stand his ground and right click. Might be a dieback coming out. Oh, he gets a pretty good chrono up to the right side. It's just the boy tumbling into them at the moment because the rest of the team are inside the base. He's going to throw back to try and deal with XM, but kicked up to the sky without a buyback. This might be the end of T1's hopes as Vici Gaming will look for a reset because they get popped to the outside the base. One stun into the damage. He's got a buyback which he'll use instantly. Vici Gaming. Play calm, get the resources back up, make sure there's no opportunity for T1 to have a miracle defense.
No, it doesn't feel like that there is. Zephyr, he's holding up to 3,000 gold as well. Not going to be for anything. He doesn't have the damage through from the rest of the team to be able to follow up. They're ignoring the play boards. They know that's not the important thing to deal with. This is the last rack going down here. Mega creeps about to be enabled for Vici. They can breathe a sigh of relief, back off to respect the fact that the Aegis, it's expiring in 15 seconds. Oh boy indeed. First we had SA, then NA, and it might be SCA's last hopes in these last chance qualifiers. Just going down the drain.
Look at the fake back. Oh, look at the fake back. They see Thompson. He brought back. Oh no, Thompson. Brendan tracked through. He's gone. Same with the rest of the team. On is up in 10 without a chrono. The buildings are falling. They need him out of defense and they won't be able to. The G's have dropped them. Vici Gaming will knock out T1 in the last chance qualifiers. Erica said by Cuckoo.
And he just gives it right back to him. Be-bye, and, well, it's a little sad for the SCA fans, for sure, to be able to come through, but what a performance from Vici. They were on the edge of being eliminated in that Game 2 epic. That massive comeback, the buybacks, running into the meat grinder on T1. It was their undoing, and this was just Vici Gaming putting it all together. A lot of those early rotations, they targeted Thompson. They made sure that there was no one to be able to create space for this, and just felt like T1 after the laning stage were able to take the foot off of the Vici Gaming accelerator.
Devastating looks into the T1 camp. A roster that a lot of people were expecting. As soon as we saw what it was looking like for T1 with Arna and Thompson coming in, you know, but it combined with the likes of Cuckoo, Whitemon and Zephyr, a lot of people were expecting.